Have you ever noticed the same people seem to dominate your LinkedIn feed? 24-year-olds posting every day, sometimes more than once, talking about leadership, strategy, building a career, half your experience, maybe less. But they are everywhere and people are listening. And you think, I have been doing this for 15 years. I have navigated things they have only read about. I figured things out the hard way, made the calls, dealt with the consequences. So the question sitting silently at the back of your mind is, am I too late? Here is what I want you to hear. You are not too late. You are actually in a stronger position than they are, but only if you stop trying to play their game, because your game, the one you have been quietly winning for years, is completely different. I've worked with professionals in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and even 60s who were brilliant offline and invisible online. And I watched them build brands that actually work without dancing, without posting 5 times a day, without any of the stuff that makes you feel cringe. By the end of this video, you'll understand why personal branding after 30 works differently, what your actual advantages are, and the 5 shifts to build something that fits your life and your level. I'm going to break down the 5 things that change about personal branding once you're past 30 and why that's your advantage. The first one is the comparison. And I know it's a thing sitting in the back of your mind every time you open LinkedIn. If you are over 30, you're probably excellent at what you do. You deliver, you handle complexity, you have built enough of a track record that people trust your judgment. But online, your profile has been mostly untouched. You don't post, nothing out there reflects how capable you actually are. And meanwhile, you watch people in their mid-20s building audiences at a pace that feels impossible to match. They understand platforms in a way that feels almost natural to them. They are comfortable on camera, they post consistently, and it seems effortless. And you look at it and think, that's not me. And you're right, it's not you, and it should not be. Here is something most people will not say. The younger generation is extraordinarily good at packaging. They understand formats, trends, and what gets attention online. But a lot of what they're packaging is the insight that originates from people like you. They are taking the hard-won lessons of a generation that actually lived them and making them more shareable. The raw material is yours, the credibility is yours, the depth is yours. They have just been louder about it. You are not behind. You have been doing something different. The problem is no one told you that being visible was part of the work. But here's what most people over 30 don't realize. You have an advantage no young creator can compete with, no matter how good they are at content. And this leads to the second point, your unfair advantage. And this is your lived experience. Not in the vague motivational sense. I mean, you have made real decisions with incomplete information. You have dealt with the fallout when things go wrong. You have led people through uncertainty. You've had the difficult conversations and come out the other side with something really genuine. That is not theory. That is not something you learn from a course or a book. This is something you can only get from time and from doing. A 24-year-old creator, no matter how talented, cannot compete with that. They do not have it yet. When they share something, it can be insightful. When you share something, it carries weight because behind it is real track record. The younger generation is often brilliant at the visible layer, the content, the captions, the quick connections. But what they are still building is what you already have. The depth that comes from years of professional trust, the ability to navigate something genuinely complex without a script, the judgment that only develops through experience. Your experience is not something to apologize for. It is the whole point. But here's where it gets honest, and this is the part most people don't want to hear. Your entire career has been built on one-to-one communication. Excellent in a conversation, on a call, across a table. You know how to read a person, adjust your tone, build trust with an individual. Which leads us to point 3, the communication shift. So now you're online speaking one-to-many. You're talking to an audience, not a person. Most people over 30 have genuinely never done that before, and it's a different skill. Not a harder one, just a different one. This is why it feels awkward at first. This is why the words do not come out the way they would in a real conversation. It's not because you have nothing to say. It's because you have never had to say it this way. The good news is you don't need to become a performer. You don't need a new personality. You just need to take the way you talk to one person and direct it at a lens instead. The depth is already there. The authority is already there. This is a delivery shift, not an identity shift. And once you accept that, there's a bigger question. How do you show up online when you can't keep up with the pace younger creators are setting? Which leads us into our 4th thing, which is depth over volume. And the biggest mistake I see when people finally decide to start is they try to keep up. They see the younger creators posting constantly and assume that is the standard. So they either attempt it and burn out within a week, or they never start at all because they cannot see how they could sustain that pace. But here is what is true. Younger creators need volume because they are still building credibility. They post constantly because repetition is how they earn trust when they do not have any depth. The strategy makes sense for where they are, but for you, your advantage is depth, not volume. One post rooted in 15 years of genuine experience will outperform 10 generic posts from someone summarizing what they've read this week every time. You do not need to be everywhere. You need to be consistent and intentional. One post a week, written from real experience, builds more trust with the right people than a daily habit built on borrowed ideas. Stop trying to win a game they have defined. Define your own. But here's one more thing that holds people over 30 back, and honestly, it might be the biggest one. The fifth thing, the guilt barrier. There is a feeling, and I have heard this from so many people, that putting yourself out there is somehow self-serving, arrogant, showing off. Younger people do not carry that weight in the same way. They grew up sharing online. It's just normal to them. But if you're over 30, there is often this invisible wall. Talking about what you know, what you have done, what you think, it feels like bragging. And bragging, it feels wrong. I have spoken with people who are genuinely exceptional at what they do, who could not bring themselves to post a single sentence about it. Not because they did not know what to say, because they felt guilty saying it. So here is a different way to think about it. Visibility is not self-promotion, it's a service. Somewhere, right now, there's someone earlier in their career than you who think about making a mistake you already made. There is someone facing a decision you have already navigated. There is someone who needs exactly that perspective that you have, and they cannot find you because you are not visible. Sharing what you know is not arrogant, it is generous. Staying invisible out of misplaced humility does not make you modest. It just means no one can benefit from what you have learned. Once you shift from that, once you see visibility as a service, the walls come down. Personal branding after 30 is not about becoming an influencer. It's about taking everything you have already built, the experience, the insight, the credibility, and making sure the right people can actually see it. You are playing a different game. Stop measuring yourself against people playing a different one. Remember this, if anything. Lived experience is your unfair advantage. It cannot be replicated by someone who has not lived it. One-to-many conversations is a skill. It's not a personality. You can learn it. Depth over volume. One intentional post beats 10 generic ones, always. Visibility is a service. The guilt is not humility, it's just invisibility in a disguise. Now, if this resonated with you, I put together a free video that breaks down the first steps to building your visibility. Go watch it next. And if you're serious about growing your career, hit subscribe.